covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Walls podcast. I am Jim Mernier, a.k.a. the Glorious One. Alongside me, my partner in crime, 900 miles away, is Zach Kyleman.
How you doing, my friend? Good to have you back on here after a little bit of a spell away. Obviously, you were on here for Turf Talk, but this will be the first one we're talking. Just kind of, good to have you back on for some analysis-based episode. Some people were wondering about you, so just saying.
Worry about me. I had work. See, sometimes when there's holidays, work gets pushed back to the next day, and I couldn't get out of work in time to recap last week's games. I'm just going to touch up on that because this is basically the preview into this week's games. Only we get two on the docket on Saturday night.
Sure.
Just touch up on the last games. I had 3 coaches reach out to me, 2 of which are head coaches. One is an assistant, to just tell me that did we prove our point? Yeah, you did. Thank you for contacting me and contacting Zach to tell us that. It's our job. Our job is to mess with the screws and make you play a little bit better. But does it change my mentality on the season for your squad or for your team? Maybe, maybe not. But you did prove us wrong. Like we said before, me and Zach, we will eat our crow because we do when we're wrong.
That is true.
And to those coaches that reached out, thank you. Prove us wrong again this week or next week, no matter what. But thank you for listening to us talk about the league. Thank you for caring about what we do. Most appreciate it. Yes, coaches may take it personal. Coaches may take it as just a normal rib. A rib is a term in wrestling for a little stab. But again, this is all respect. We love the game. We appreciate the game. But because I missed and Zach going solo in a very good show, actually I did something today listening to the show. I had to listen to the podcast. I'm like, hey, it's weird. Where's Jim? Oh, yeah, that's right. I wasn't on the show. I actually had that thought. I really did. It was really surprising when I was like, where's the other guy? Oh, wait, that's me. And I didn't do it because of work. But you did a good job, made some good comments. Some of them I can say I can retort on, but that's the past. That's the past now, okay?
That's fair.
But usually on our pre-shows and the final walkthroughs, we preview our power rankings. Just going to say it. Me and Zach Pipe basically is going to say our power rankings don't change. They don't change at all. Same positions.
Not this week, I'm afraid.
Because the teams that are in the top won and the teams that are on the bottom all lost. So power rankings are still the same. So that's Orlando at 6, San Antonio at 5, Columbus at 4, Albany at 3, Carolina at 2, and Jacksonville at 1. It can still flip on the dime. It's very easy. Arena football is crazy. It changes like that. But speaking of week 12. I hear the sense. What is that sound? Playoff scenario seasons in full effect again.
Hello.
Both games, big implications. How easy is it? Let's just say Jacksonville wins and Columbus wins. The playoff field is set. All 4 teams will clinch a position. Meaning Jacksonville, Carolina, and Albany, and Columbus will clinch postseason berths. Simple. I did say Orlando was eliminated due to their loss. Technically, they're not eliminated yet, but this bye week coming up officially eliminates them as they will lose a half game back of the 4th place team. That will officially eliminate them from the postseason no matter what. So I had people come after me and say, oh, Orlando's not eliminated yet. You're forgetting about their bye week. They don't gain ground. Usually when you're the bye week and the team ahead of you is playing, usually 99% of the time lose a half game. So technically, you're not eliminated yet, but you're eliminated on Saturday night when the week 12 is ended. But overall, week 12 is here. San Antonio Gunslingers going to Columbus in a pivotal crucial game 3 between Carolina and Jacksonville in the Shark Tank. How pivotal is that? If Jacksonville wins out and Carolina loses just 2 games to Jacksonville, the road to the NAL championship goes through Jacksonville. That's how pivotal these games are. We're in not just playoff clinching positions. We're at whoever wins these certain games gets certain positions. That's how close we are in this week, week 12. Does clinching positions mean more now than battling for playoff seedings? Yes. Carolina's already in. They've clinched. We've posted a graphic playoff bound. Also, they beat Jacksonville this week. They wrap up the 1 seed. They don't have to do anything else the rest of the season. You're going to Greensboro for the NAL championship. But if Jacksonville wins, Jacksonville, Albany, and Carolina still are in the mix for the number 1 seed. Also, Columbus is still in there for the 2 seed. So week 12, it's full of a lot of things. But most importantly, if Columbus and Jacksonville win this weekend, the playoff field is set, which for us be interesting. We already know the 4 teams, but for the 2 teams that miss, kind of stinks because one of those teams is actually pretty on the hot streak. Ran out of gas last week in San Antonio. But also, before we go to week 12, San Antonio, 4,762, I think is the number I heard for the attendance. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Arena football can succeed, not just in Jacksonville. Orlando proved it last week, and San Antonio proved it. It can work. Now let's get the vibes in Carolina. Let's get the vibes in Albany again. Get it going. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, you think it's cool now and fun now? Get ready for the playoffs and get ready for an off season. Get ready for 2023. It's going to be a crazy time for arena football. But for San Antonio fans, much respect. Football can succeed. Like I made a quote on another league. Spring football was just proven that it can be successful. Look at the 44,000 people that showed up for the USFL game this past weekend. It can be successful. Arena football can also be successful because one reason, it succeeded before. Go out there, support. San Antonio showed it. Jacksonville showing it every single week. Orlando props. Season's over in Orlando, though. No more home games. But still, they had near 8,000, almost over 8,000. They had the largest attended crowd this year in the NL. I've seen a comment in the chat. It's like, wow, and Inside the Walls podcast, so it's going to be mad about the attendance number. No, I'm not. Orlando has that crowd this year. Congratulations. Finally, someone besides Jacksonville has the highest attendance.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
I don't know why anyone would be mad at that. I mean, that's
maybe it's also because Jacksonville brought about 200, 300 fans with them. It's not that far a commute. I didn't make the trip though, but still, it's props to the Casey, the organization Orlando, John Wayne. Hell of a performance of getting fans in the stands, and I expect next week's game, not this week's, next week's game when Sharks travel to San Antonio to be even bigger. So I'm really excited to see that game, see how San Antonio wraps up their home state slate with the Jacksonville Sharks. But Zach, that's it for me for week 11. I know I may ruffle some favorites. I know I may be the glorious one to some. Also, I may be I saw this. Hashtag Duvalians by a listener of ours on the chat.
I see.
I saw that. Thank you. That wasn't me. But it was a hashtag Duvalians. Again, we still don't understand why we're called Duvalians, but still, we'll take it. We'll love it. Because in our NFL team, we don't want to talk about. Anyways, let's get into 2 crucial games. And we'll get to the game that's actually less significant first, which is kind of ironic, which is the Jacksonville Sharks hosting the Carolina Cobras. The reason why it's less significant is because San Antonio is fighting to get a playoff spot, and Columbus is trying to clinch a playoff spot. Those are not less significant. Jacksonville, Columbus, Jacksonville, Carolina. Jacksonville needs to do an epic fail to miss the postseason right now. They have a 2-game lead over the 4 seed, and there's 4 games remaining, and 3 games remaining, and 2 of the 3 at home. So they need to, flop on their face to miss the postseason. But anyways, let's go to the Shark Tank where can I do it? Okay. Duvalians will be there live and proud Star Wars night. first 1,200 fans that get lightsabers.
Oh,
I might get one.
I saw
might
the
be the
I saw
one.
the TIE Fighter jerseys they're going to be giving out for auction. Those
Yeah.
those
No,
look
it's
pretty
like
snazzy.
it's dude. Steve Kerr and Steven Shatola, the owners of the Jacksonville Sharks and the operation, how they do their promotions are crazy. That's how in Jacksonville, the Star Wars night's always one of the most popular nights for the fans. Lightsabers, I think they have. I think they said they're going to get Kylo Ren coming this time around.
Kylo
Probably,
Ren.
or Han Solo. Some characters are going to show up. So if you're in Jacksonville, Star Wars night, bring your kids, go visit some of the characters. So it's going to be cool. But the dark side is strong this time around. That is the Carolina Cobras, led by Malik Henry.
Fascinating storyline coming in.
Fascinating storyline indeed, because here's the reason. The arena football game's crazy. Look at Jackson. We have Mike Faithful as a backup. He was the starting quarterback in Albany week 1. Malik Henry was the starting quarterback for week 1 for the Jacksonville Sharks. Now in Carolina, things just move around. But one thing you have to look at last week's game with Carolina is how efficient Malik was. It's the best I've seen Malik all season. He looked calm, collective, making good reads. Of course, the weapons galore he has. Holy crap. Carolina did not miss a beat. Now the scenery changes. The Shark Tank. Malik returns back to the Shark Tank. Jacksonville, first time over 500 this season. We have the sights of a home playoff game in reach. Possibly a return of a player. Healthy returned player. Just a little bird told me that a couple hours ago, by the way.
I could see if it's the one I'm thinking, I'm going to leave it at that. I could see him returning.
But this is a game that the tale of two games. Both games between the Cobras and Sharks this year in Carolina came down to their last possession. Came down to a defensive stop and a turnover. Both games. I see that again here in Jacksonville. Well, Jacksonville taking advantage of this one. But here's a hint to everyone. I'm not taking Jacksonville twice between Carolina. They're going to split because these two teams are destined to meet somewhere. Not going to jinx it, but destined to meet somewhere. I'm looking for a game that's going to be intensive, exciting. I know Coach Reds want to come in and Duval and shut up Jim, of course. I'm Coach Reds. I'm definitely going to meet you when you're in town. So probably pregame, I'll come down and talk to you. That's if he allows me on the field. That's if he allows me on the field. But keys to this game for Carolina. What you just did to the best defense in the NAL, bring that to Jacksonville. Because Jacksonville, I've stated before, and all season long, you're not going to stop them. You got to outscore them. You just outscored and completely demolished Columbus's defense. Bring that same attitude. Bring that Malik Henry. You do that, you win this game easily. I just think, as a fan, this is just the Sharks' time to wrap up a playoff berth in front of a sold-out, not sold out, but look at the pre-sales. It looked like they have about 6,400 pre-sale tickets already sold.
It should be jam-packed in the tank. I mean, that's not unexpected,
I don't think it's going to be an issue, honestly. I think the crowd's going to be there. I think the fan base is going to be there. I think the energy is going to be there. I think the Sharks, in my opinion, because of their offensive ability, will be one step ahead of Carolina and eventually win the game towards the end. Close, one possession, maybe two possession game. It's going to be a lot of similarities between both games in this one because it's Jacksonville, Carolina. It's basically what you said what Jacksonville, Carolina is. They are the stepchild of Jacksonville. They are Jacksonville 2.0. Basically, every player that's played in Carolina won championships in Jacksonville. Not all of them, but most. But I think it's the same mentality, the same approach by both teams, both organizations. I think it comes down to, again, like you mentioned, you jinxed the greatest jinx of all a couple weeks ago with Arvell Nelson. Oh, he's due for one bad interception, and he throws that one bad interception against.
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest, last week I hope he got all that out of his system because throwing 3 picks is not going to win you many games. The fact they're lucky that they were facing an Orlando team that also equally cannot finish games this year. And that was Matt Parsons' first night back under the driver's seat for the Preds. So
agreed.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, there's your in for the Cobras to take one. Basically, which QB is going to play the smartest football? Because Malik's also been prone to mistakes this year. Had a really good game against the Lions. Actually, really solid. Arguably his best one of the season overall. Utilized all his weapons to his advantage, to his disposal. Took shots where needed, took passes where needed that were in the vicinity to let his players make the plays and the open field. That's what you want out of him. We talked about it. So who plays the smartest football? That's all you can ask. Because I'll tell you, Jacksonville's defense, since we last talked about these two meeting, they've also wised up. I'd say they've gotten better in recent weeks.
Yeah. But I'm going to say that key of the game, 2 keys of the game. It's actually 2 players. DJ Myers, Naquan Murray.
There you go.
Whoever has the bigger game wins. And I know a lot of people don't want to say this. I heard it on another podcast earlier this week about Naquan. He's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And maybe he's some people are saying the best receiver in the league, but how he's developed into that. Since Devin went down, he's been taking that role and even excelling. No one knew Naquan at the beginning of the year. And we were already talking about Devin Wilson and Rob Jones. Naquan, I said on this show, watch out for Naquan Murray. He's going to do something. He did something. Wilson went hurt, and he stepped up. He took a big role. Same as DJ Myers, this week's Iron Man of the week for the National Arena League. That man, he had one game off that he took. They say he was injured. I think he took the week off, gave him a bye week. Comes back the next week, and it's DJ Myers that we've seen in Orlando and what we've seen there in Carolina. It's going to be about what quarterback gets their man the ball. If Naquan's on fire in Jacksonville and fans are in the game, it's going to be a nice, exciting, energetic crowd, rivalry type of matchup feel between 2 teams that are even if you look at the overall standings. I think either Carolina or Jacksonville has a 1-game lead in the overall all-time series. These teams are even with each other. And, of course, for DJ, if Henry plays like he did last week, and Lance Evans, James Summers, Kendrick Eanes, and DJ Myers are getting the ball and getting the rock and doing everything, and TC Stevens is doing his thing, hey, Carolina's winning. But another secret weapon is Jacksonville's new kicker, who was making deuces galore last week, Nick Blanchard. When I made a statement last week, I called out, and it's like Jacksonville's not the best team. It's not the team that's on fire. Well, they've won 6 out of their last 8 games. And they're winning ugly, but now they're finding their special teams. Arvell Nelson is playing well. And someone made a good comment on one of our videos or even our Twitter. Does Arvell Nelson have a argument for being this MVP of the NAL because of what he's done with the Jacksonville Sharks since he's came into Jacksonville?
I think that's a case.
5-1 as a starter.
Yes, but I also weigh full season a little bit more, which is why credit Jonathan Bain a little bit. It's a little bit concern on if his season's going to end. Honestly, it's going to kind of be a toss up because really Bain's length of the year. I think Nelson I would say is a case. I'm actually going to throw Sam Castronova in there for recent weeks. Has made a bold move on that one as well. So I think it really depends because honestly, if Bain's healthy right now, I'm still sticking with him. But with him being out now, going to be going on 2 weeks and who knows how long at this point, it's sounding like it might be playoffs that he'll be back for at the very latest. So it wasn't as severe as what I'm trying to say. But
would it not shock you if the MVP this year is a receiver? I think am I right in the scene when Bain got hurt? I think now it's either Darius Prince or DJ Myers for the taking.
Well, that's possible. Now my
vote would be Prince. That's Prince
my thing with receiver picks, and this is kind of good. And I do agree. Like Darius Prince, you have Darius Prince, DJ Myers, Naquan Murray to me is my rookie of the year, by the way. So if you guys want me to give a selection, that's who I've got rookie of the year wise. Generally, if you look at the NFL, a lot of the people they talk about when it comes to receivers, it's about, well, who's throwing to them, and all that, which generally it goes to then a quarterback backtracking. And it's also why I'm switching to QB, just because, Arena kind of that the offense is almost all on their arms. So maybe, I think Prince, at least, you have for offensive player of the year, I think he definitely is a good candidate. Iron Man of the year, I think there's a few options you can go with. And quite frankly, to me, MVP is one thing. I actually think the Iron Man to me is a little more coveted than the MVP in this league, just because that just shows you have skills on all sides of the ball. So, no offense, it doesn't take away from most valuable, but I think with Iron Man now having its own award this season, I think it's just that bit more special than the MVP. I'm not like, I consider that the MVP, just in my personal opinion, but I could be wrong. We'll find out. I will say Prince and Myers, at least. More Prince is, I think, in line for at least the offensive player of the year. I think even Naquan Murray, you can make that argument too, if you wanted to put that in there. Not just rookie of the year, but also in that field of view in terms of production. If I also had to throw...
Sorry to throw you a curveball, but this is a conversation.
Look, it's the final quarter of the year, so this conversation we're gonna have a little more and more. So you're keeping me on my toes, but honestly, this is my genuine eval. So yeah, it's my eval. That's my general.
I missed an episode. I gotta catch up.
Well, there you have it.
Trust me. Next week they'll be like, "Where's Zach? I can't deal with Jim for freaking 3 episodes."
Well, you aren't wrong, because next week I will be unavailable all week.
Exactly.
I've been no, I'm serious. I've been needing a vacation. For those out there, I'm going to be gone for 10 days out in Ireland across the pond.
Yeah.
A little bit of kind of a mom and son trip out there. So I might be available for at least one show based on scheduling of our said guest. I actually kind of don't want to miss this one, so that's why I'm going to see if I can make it work. Otherwise, it's probably going to be mostly me not available next week, just to get that out of the way early, so none of you are freaking out where the hell I'm at. Yeah. I mean, but anyway, that's a good tease for next week's guest. We had a great one with DJ Myers on yesterday. And we'll have another awesome guest, high profile in the league, that we're going to get this coming Thursday. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, hopefully I'll get to jump on. I think I can with the time difference. If I calculate it right, I think I can make that one at the very least. So we'll see.
That's early in the morning for you. What did that be?
About 6 hours. If we record it, if you record at 6, that's midnight for me. I should be chilling out somewhere at that point. So
hopefully you're not, drowning yourself in Guinness, my friend.
I don't think I'm maybe I'll. Well, that'll also determine if I'm on too. But I'm not gonna, trust me. I ain't gonna jump on to an official podcast and make bad decisions. Is what I will be saying.
Let me tell you something, brother.
I don't want to get a call from Chris on my phone. 6-hour difference. Me waking up in the morning going, "What the heck?" Oh,
knowing him, he'll call and go, "What type of stuff you're drinking? Bring stuff over." But anyway, I forgot. Did I do my pick? Who I have winning the game?
No, I was going to say, look, my only things with this contest, like we talked, it's really who really plays the smarter ball behind center. Like I said, Arvell Nelson, rough week last week, but it is the Preds. They do play them. Those two play each other tough. And then I think besides that, what version of the Carolina defense do I see too? Because that was a much different defensive performance than I was expecting from the Cobras as of late. So, they showed up and they played tough in the second half, shut down Columbus entirely and just ran away with it. So can they do that against Jacksonville? A little harder of a task. We'll find out if that's possible. For me though, I'm actually going to go with the Sharks on this one. Something else that's a factor to me that I'm going to add into this. Malik does have to go into the Shark Tank. Last week he did have home field advantage to get comfortable with. This time though, he's got to go into a hostile environment. I want to see how he handles that with 6,000 plus screaming Sharks fans who now also have, it's a little personal history now with the earlier part of the season. So I mean, got someone coming back in now on one of the rival-esque teams with the Cobras. So I don't know. I got the Sharks here. But I do believe it's going to be a split. So I guess unless something changes, you can mark me down for a Cobras win later in the season in the second matchup.
Well, I did say that the Sharks were going to split against Carolina. I think when the dust is settled, I think Jacksonville is one of the 4 teams. I don't think they'll be the one that's hosting the playoffs throughout the postseason. But do they win it in Jacksonville this time around? I think they do. I think it's going to be similar games that we've seen before in Carolina, a close one-score game. I think Malik Henry makes that mistake, that Jacksonville capitalizes on it, and I think Arvell Nelson doesn't make that mistake and leads the Sharks to a victory. But I do think the season finale game could be a matchup between 2 teams that have already wrapped up positions, and actually win or loss may not even determine where they go. So it could be one of those games where, hey, throw in Faithful, throw in these guys to get them time. But that's in 3 weeks. Holy crap, the season's almost over. But anyways,
it's
but yeah,
on this, it's coming up.
Yeah, so that's gonna be an interesting feel. So I got the Sharks winning, close one again against the Carolina Cobras. But let's go to the game that is the most intriguing this weekend. That is the San Antonio Gunslingers traveling to the Columbus Lions, where we can honestly say that the San Antonio Gunslingers are under elimination this week as well. Again, I stated before, if Columbus wins, they clinch a playoff spot. If Jacksonville wins, they clinch a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, if Columbus wins, Albany clinches. If Jacksonville and Columbus win, all 4 teams clinch. But this week, it's in the confines of the almost said Charlotte Civic Center. That could be a completely different area, completely different state. Thank you, college football expansion rumors. You've given me freaking Charlotte, Atlanta, whatever, but this is the NAL.
Right.
They're in the Columbus Civic Center, taking on the Lions, taking on the Gunslingers. Speak English. One with the word.
Enunciate.
Enunciate. One of the most. I got to give props to San Antonio again. Last week's game was a hard-fought game. Albany went in there with, honestly, guns firing. Couldn't big stop every time Albany had the ball. They scored, and San Antonio just couldn't keep up with them this time around. Dark horse MVP Robert Kent, how he has just stabilized that team, and San Antonio has made them very competitive each and every week. They really haven't been blown out by any team since he's been there. But overall, going to Columbus, a very hostile environment. Columbus wake-up call, defense didn't show up. Offense kind of stuttered, but knowing Jason Gibson and knowing the organization of Jason Gibson, they're going to get some things situated this week in practice, and I think you're going to see a team completely focused. Offense, I think, is going to gel. I think their defense is going to be solid. And I think Columbus fans could be ready for a big weekend with the energy and excitement of the game. For me, I think Columbus is just a better team. I think they're more prepared. Gibson is very good after, I hate to say it, but they're very good after losses. Very rarely you have back-to-back losses for a Jason Gibson team. He did this year, but you had bye weeks in between them.
Yep.
So it was very hard, like a loss, got to sit down. Loss, got to sit down. But he said in our interview we had a couple weeks ago, earlier, a couple weeks ago, almost 2 months ago, where he says that it's very hard when you lose and you go on the bye week, because you got to deal with that bye week for 2 weeks, except for one. But overall, what happened last week in Carolina was completely a shell shock to me and you. We both thought, I said, Coach Rez hasn't beaten the Gibson team. Rez just beat Gibson this week. He took him out to the barnyard.
They beat the brakes off the Lions. That's what happened with the Cobras this week. They beat the brakes off of them 2 weeks in a row. By the way, that defense hasn't played up to snuff 2 straight weeks in a row now. So a little concerning for me. That was kind of surprising to see 2 back-to-back weeks in a row.
San Antonio is a good team, very solid. The first game was a exciting possession game in San Antonio week 2. Don't take offense, San Antonio, but you're kind of a downgrade from Carolina, Albany overall. You have great talent everywhere. It's just that I think Carolina and Albany are just better. They are better teams. Look at the records. But right now, you're going to see a test. San Antonio has to travel the rest of the way. Columbus, and Albany. It's must win for them. They can't afford a loss at all now. A lose eliminates them. A win keeps them alive for another week. And then next week they're under elimination again against the Jacksonville Sharks. They have to literally win out to excuse me, they're hosting the Sharks. They're not traveling to the Sharks, they're hosting the Sharks. So I redact that last message. But overall, this game is going to be key for some odd reason in Columbus. The Lions Gibson is just that coach that you don't see back-to-back bad weeks. I think you're going to have something not just massive happen in Columbus. I think you're going to have a situation where you're going to have a team more focused on this game. Like, hey, we got to wrap up a playoff spot. Let's do it now so we can have the extra couple of weeks to, put some new things in, to make new additions, or trying to, focus more on winning a championship. Except for, God, we got to, we have to win this game to clinch. Now we're backs against the wall. We got to win out. I think Columbus takes care of business in Columbus in their home stadium this week against San Antonio. I love you, San Antonio. Great support. You guys are doing well. But for me, it's just I can't count out Coach Gibson. The NAL tradition, ladies and gentlemen, is the National Arena League. Columbus Lions always make the playoffs. That's literally the headline below the logo, because they've never missed the playoffs in the league, and I don't think it's going to start now. I think they wrap up that playoff spot this week against San Antonio.
I do want to see how the Gunslingers respond, because they had been on a hot streak, started to finally creep back into the playoff conversation as of the week prior. And I was kind of thinking that maybe that was going to continue. Again, I picked San Antonio to get a win last week. And so, Albany flipped the script, and, here we are. Gunslingers now are back on the brink fully this time. Really is a necessary win now. And they don't get to go and have home field advantage. That's something that they had a luxury of in that 3-game winning streak, is that they've been able to rally behind that crowd at Freeman, see it grow. And I think they're hoping they can come back and get a even larger crowd growing again if they can get this win against Columbus in the Civic Center this time. My main deal is, can you limit your mistakes that you had against Albany, which, make sure drives finish, make sure that you don't have unnecessary turnovers. It felt like Robert Kent took kind of half a step back last week on some regards, but I also give credit to the Empire's secondary for slowing down what San Antonio had been doing in recent weeks. So Marvin Ross and company, they stepped up. Question is, can they take advantage of some of the lulls that have been going on with the Columbus Lions? And we are going to find out. I think it might have a shot, although Jason Gibson, going to assume, knowing that the importance of this one, I think that the Lions are going to come out their best at home in this instance. 2 weeks in a row of poor defense. Dame Daniels as well. He's going to, that guy, him running the defensive unit, I imagine 2 weeks in a row of giving up 60 plus points is not really what you want to be preaching on the other side. Remember, Darian Townsend said they want to be giving up no more than 50, and that is clearly not what's been going on. So they're going to be trying to get back to basics. They do have the home crowd again on their side. And honestly, Daniel Smith, he's been solid, but I'm not,
Well, I was just going to make this not really it's not really an assumption. It's more of an observation. Look at the two teams. You have Darian Townsend, scat back type of receiver. On San Antonio's side, you have Khalil Rashad. Columbus side, he had Jamar Fortson. San Antonio's side, you have Philip Barnett. Oh my God, how similar is that? You have you got two kickoff returners who they're a weapon. They get the ball at the kickoff, and you have two bigger receivers that can take a punishment, that can go up the middle, that can make the big hit on defense,
right,
and make a stable opponent. Are you studied against Phil Barnett? I have. Guy's a beast. Fortson the same way. These are not no skinny little what your mother used to say, like a tooth. You look like a toothpick. Eat a burger or something like that. Toothpick.
Toothpick.
No. Now you got to look at the two quarterbacks. You have Robert Kent and you have Smith. Robert Kent has that advantage, but you look at the overall team itself. That's in my opinion. You look at the overall team itself. Columbus has more weapons on offense and has a better defense than San Antonio. I just lean towards Columbus. It's home, and I think just trusting Gibson's like the Belichick way. You can't count out Gibson in the playoffs, especially in the NAL. That's my side of it, but that's just an observation how their two main weapons on offense, or their four weapons on offense, are very similar in size and build and style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think when you have the importance of this contest, you have Gibson, who's a little bit more experienced in this scenario for me. And again, I just don't see Dame Daniel having three straight coach performances in this regard of giving up 60 points. It's possible. That offense that San Antonio has, they've been on a tear up until last week. So it's not out of the question. I just don't see it 3 times in a row with the personnel they have and what they've been able to accomplish this year, having that happen again. Time will tell. I do have the Lions, though, in this one, just based on the experience in this situation. No slight to San Antonio. They're going to put up a good fight, and quite frankly, they're building a lot of positivity into next year. That fan base and kind of keeping the energy going is what's important right now. Playoffs, excited. I mean, with the switch to ownership to playoffs, were, if you can get there, awesome, but it was about establishing a fan base, which you've so far, it's right now accomplished. Mission seems to be getting accomplished right now. So great. But if you can get a win, and I think it'll be an upset win to me, awesome. I just think it's a little hard when you have an experienced coach on the opposite side that I just don't think you're going to see 3 straight losses with a Jason Gibson run roster.
Yeah, I completely agree. But San Antonio, to Phil, to the guys on the Smoking Guns podcast, you guys have something. You got an organization, and Freeman Coliseum, how it looked like this past week, that's what we need. It's a great example of how football can be successful. No disrespect about this week's loss that we're predicting to the Columbus Lions. But overall, Zach mentioned it on Wednesday. I'm mentioning it today. Thank you for 100 subscribers to the Inside the Walls podcast YouTube page. Now it's official. You can find us at In Walls Pod on YouTube.
Yep.
Everywhere. In Walls Pod everywhere. So today, Friday night, around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, me and Zach will have a 5-10 minute video of announcing who wins the 2 tickets to the NAL game. We'll tag you. I'm trying to find you as much social media as we can to tag you, or if you see this video, reach out to us and we'll DM you the information of the games that you want to get to. Most likely it'll be next week's games or the following week's games, because of course, what happens if you live in Virginia and you win tickets to a Jacksonville game? There's no way you're going to get there tomorrow night.
Right. Unless
you're a Mr. MVP and have your own private plane. But anyways, but yeah, we'll do an announcement. You get reached to us and we'll hook you guys up with 2 tickets to NAL action for the final 2 weeks of the season, possibly a playoff game if we can, and pull some strings if we can do that. But anyways, remember, you can find us on any social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and NationalArenaLeague.com. You can follow us at NWalsPod on Twitter, NWalsPod on YouTube. It's easy. NWalsPod everywhere. It's in our description. Links in our description. Remember, thank you for 100 subscriptions. It took a year to do that. Actually, it took less than a year. It took about.
I was gonna say we did a pretty good job getting it to this point. Let's keep building that momentum, guys.
It took us 12 weeks to get here. 12 weeks, 12 seasons, or 6 months, wherever it is. But thank you, appreciate it. That's Zach Koloman. I'm Jim Renier. This has been episode 59, Inside the Walls final walkthrough, week 12 preview. Enjoy your games this Saturday. Be safe. See you next week. And before we leave, remember one thing.
Keep your eyes on the prize, and don't be a jack out of the box, because that could cost you a playoff position.
Mm-hmm. And also, FSU to SEC confirmed. Thank you. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
See ya.
Covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Bernier.